Here is an article entitled Cluster of Concerns Vie for Top U.S. Problem in 2014. It talks about how in 2014 4 issues generated enough public concern over enough months for at least 10% of Americans on average to identify each of them as the nation's most important problem. Complaints about government leadership, including Barack Obama, the Republicans in Congress, and the general political conflict, led the list at 18%. Goes on to say down here that beyond the top 4 issues, 8% of Americans named immigration as the country's most important problem, while 6% mentioned the federal budget deficit or the debt, and 5% cited ethical or moral decline. If it were me, I would probably rank moral decline 1. I would throw in 1. Our food supply is contaminated with all kinds of things that they put into the food, from pesticides to even fluoride. It's all out there. You can look and see that our food supply is very lacking in some basic nutritional value, and it's leading to tons and tons of medical problems in this country, which of course is by design because the medical establishment is going to make billions and billions of dollars off of sick people. That's well known. So that would be like probably my second one, is just our way of supporting ourselves. Our food source is contaminated, and that, fish. Look at fish coming from the Pacific side over there, where where Fukushima is leaking radiation out into the ocean and killing sea life and infecting it with radiation. Radiation is very, very dangerous. Go look up Chernobyl, which happened, I believe, in 1986. I've been around long enough to remember that. Anyway, these are troubling statistics in themselves because only 8% of Americans and 5% and 10%. This is really this is the only sector of our society that even cares about this stuff. That tells you right there, we're living in that movie, Idiocracy, I believe is what it was called, where Luke Wilson was just surrounded by basically American idiots, American zombies who are just so dumbed down and stupid. It's just a show kind of depicting a society like that. Well, we live in that society. We live right there. And I'm not saying people are stupid, because there are some very obviously educated people, and we have some, still have some good doctors and still have, some decent people, but we're very non-awake. It's one thing to be intellectually smart, the other is to have wisdom, and that's where this public, in my opinion, is really lacking, is just any kind of common sense and wisdom. I mean, to believe that politicians are going to, represent you fairly, or to believe that you can just stimulate an economy forever on the printing of digital money and the creation of money and credit forever. You can't do that. It never works. It never does. Eventually things come collapsing down, like Weimar Germany, like Zimbabwe, like Argentina twice since 2001. Those are only a few examples, and you can go look those up for yourselves. This is the sort of economic system that cannot last. As I've said that many, many times before. If Americans had any sense or bothered to read history, they might similarly conclude that there are some bumpy roads to be gone down in 2015 going forward. There's no way that you can continue to create debt out of thin air and be the only buyer of U.S. Treasuries, which wouldn't surprise me if that's the case. I know that the Fed's been monetizing the debt since maybe March or so of 2009, so how far can this system go is the question. And if you don't have, a suitable supply of water, food, provisions for your family, medicines that you might need, things that you're stocking up on, I would say you're crazy. If you haven't been preparing yourself for a very hard road in the future, you're doing yourself a grave disservice, and you're probably not going to make it. Due to the fact that all these Americans now are so obese and unhealthy, and I mean, if you were to shut off the lights and the water for a few days, it'd just be one nasty situation. Americans aren't ready for anything. You better get yourselves ready. You better, begin to realize that nothing lasts forever, including this age of prosperity, backed on the creation of money out of nothing. People don't want to hear that. We're in this wonderful society. We're in the roaring 20s right now. But we all know what happened in 1929 and the subsequent years after that. The roaring 20s became the depressive 30s. But hardly do you ever hear anything about that, do you? Well, anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about, and just kind of how really kind of disgusting it is that people don't care or have or more informed about things going on in the world. Plenty more going on out there. If I see an article, I just comment on it, and not that the article in itself is 100% true or anything, but it does tend to lend itself for discussion, and we know that these are issues. Anybody with a thinking mind knows that these things are an issue, whether it's the economy or the real unemployment figures or just any of 100 things. Well, anyway, keep yourselves prepared, always keep yourselves informed, and have a nice day.